Watching The Great Indian Kitchen was pretty difficult for me. Context. So a couple of months ago, a movie called Mrs. came out. It's a movie about a young woman who marries into a family and then has to deal with the domestic labor of the entire family, something which usually gets swept behind the curtain. And Mrs. got its fair share of attention from groups of people. One group which claimed that it highlights the true nature of work that women have to do, while the others, misogynist, claimed that the nature of the movie is exaggerated. As it turns out, Mrs. is actually the remake of another pretty well-known film, The Great Indian Kitchen, a Malayalam film which came out in 2021 to a lot of renown. And I thought, why put the cart before the horse? Let me reckon with the original. And what a reckoning it was. Quick summary. A woman marries into a patriarchal family where she finds out she has to pick up on the domestic duties of the entire household. Her family and society at large have patriarchal expectations from her, which leads to her being discriminated against in almost every aspect of her life, from not being allowed to get a job, to being isolated during her periods, to unfulfilling sex, you name it. Here's my opinion in a nutshell. I think it's a great movie. I think everyone should watch it. Here's my opinion expanded. Watching The Great Indian Kitchen made me feel sick, sometimes physically sick. The film spends a lot of time in the kitchen, showing the before, during, and after of cooking. This includes the preparation, the cooking itself, and the cleaning. Dirty plates, dirty dishwasher, and the full foulness of the patriarchal spirit in which women toil. A friend of mine had remarked that this movie dwells a lot on hands, and I wasn't prepared for how true that was going to be. You see women in this movie working all the time, cleaning floors, plates, tables, putting their hands into dirty sink water. For the people who think that housework is just light work and women just chill at home, this movie will put the lie to that kind of thinking. Despite this film's heart being the kitchen, it's really interesting to see how it expands to cover other aspects of a woman's life. For example, because patriarchy pushes this idea of a woman's natural role being in the house, the main character of the movie is actively discouraged from doing anything that will take her out of the house. This means no jobs, no earnings, nothing that will give her any kind of agency or bargaining power at all. The film also doesn't fall into the trap of demonizing other women in favor of the main lead. While we do see women who scold or berate the protagonist for not knowing womanly things, we also see that these women are just as trapped as she is. When the main character has her periods and isn't allowed to enter the kitchen, an older female relative shows up to take care of things because God forbid anybody else do it. We see a relationship of unsaid solidarity between the protagonist and her mother-in-law, such as when the protagonist insists on eating with her mother-in-law, or when the same mother-in-law asks her husband to adjust and eat the cooker-made rice made by his daughter-in-law. In many other movies, this would have been the perfect opportunity for the movie to set these women up against each other. But the film recognizes the universal struggle of women, even those usually set up as the bad guys. At the end of it, The Great Indian Kitchen was a very grounded and realistic film which I feel should be necessary watching for nearly everyone. That said, the film does have a happy-ish ending in the sense that our protagonist finally manages to unravel herself from the systems that she was stuck in and choose her own path in life. In fact, it was such a cathartic moment to watch her literally throw water on the systems and people and just leave. But at the same time, we see there is no change in the family structure, which continues to need a woman fulfilling a subservient role in order to keep going. But for how long? That's a question that The Great Indian Kitchen leaves us to ponder, and one that only we can answer.